You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona. With me always are my good friends.
Jay in South Carolina.
And Shannon G in Mesa AZ.
And welcome to the show. We sure appreciate you joining us. Make sure you go out and like and subscribe our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. Also, we have a Facebook listeners group. You can join us there as well. And we now have an Instagram account, thanks to Shannon. So feel free to reach out to us on Instagram. We're a couple old guys trying to figure out how that works. I keep having to call my kid and saying, how do I do this? But we have a few posts on there, and it's working to our advantage. So if you're following us already, thank you very much. If you have an Instagram account, please jump on there and help us get more views. We appreciate that. So I'm still learning.
You got to show a little more skin, Mike. That's what really sells on Instagram.
Oh,
so.
I figured as much. My wife actually started laughing because I think she was like number 2. She's like, "Oh, you have an Instagram account? I'll follow you." And so I came out there and I was like, "I hope we get more viewers." She goes, "Oh, you'll need a TikTok for that." And I go, "I don't think anybody's gonna follow me on a TikTok." She's like, "Yeah, you're not pretty enough." So it was pretty funny. So yeah, I think you're right. If you showed a little more skin, you'd probably get a few more views. But sorry, you're just going to see
or airplane crashes, fiery airplane crashes. That's the other big one too. But I don't want to.
Well, it is bikini season, so hey.
I told actually AK Mike is in town, and we been doing stuff for the last couple of days. His daughter is having a baby, and so we all kind of hung out with her at the baby shower, and that was one of the things I told Mike. I said, is there a dress code to this shower? And he's like, just come any way you want. I said, perfect, I'll wear my mankini. And he didn't know what that was. He was like, what is a mankini? So I sent him a picture of, to Jay and to everybody and said, oh, here you go, this is how I'm going to show up. So when I showed up, I was dressed nice, and he was like, oh man, I thought you were going to wear the mankini. And I started laughing. I was like, yeah, I can't, I got to watch my audience. I can't pull that off out in public.
I've lost a lot of weight though. I probably fill out pretty good.
Probably fill out. Yeah,
too.
Yeah. I have too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. So
I think we do a calendar. Maybe we can.
Yeah, that's true.
Podcast calendar.
Yeah, we could do that with the 3 of us in our mankinis. I think I'll pass.
We'll owe everybody for who buys it rather than them paying us.
There you go. We'll pay people to buy our calendar. Jay's giving me the nod like, no, not me, Jack. So maybe we can find somebody to stand in for you, Jay. Welcome to the show. We are excited to we have a special guest today, and it is always a pleasure to have Steve from FrSKY on our program. And before we get to him, we had this set up, and right in the middle of it, I kind of, over the weekend, I fell into something that I thought was a medical emergency. Turns out it was not. So that's good news. But my wife got a little paranoid. We are a little bit of, we're sensitive to the medical, processes. And I thought I had an abscess tooth that would have really affected, my heart condition. And so she was like, you got to get there right now. And then, so when we called the dentist on Monday, when we had this podcast set up, the dentist's office visit was right at the same time. So unfortunately, Jay and Shannon were able to kind of, take over. I had to leave right then. So turns out it was nothing. It was a little overexcitement on our part, but we did figure out, what the problems were, and I got a free dentist visit out of it, so that was good news. So, but having said all that, let's join Steve. I'm going to jump out for you guys to finish up, and then I'll come back into the studio with you guys, and we'll follow up there. So, for now, here we go.
Hey, it's Shannon G. Mesa AZ, along with...
Hey, Jay in South Carolina.
All right, and we're doing this little segment without Michael because Michael was indisposed, but we had some time scheduled with Steve from FrSKY. How are you doing, Steve?
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm here again.
Well, yeah, Steve's been on our show before, and supports the FrSKY USA operation, and kind of give us a little history about your role with FrSKY, Steve.
So I started, it was actually 4 years ago, a couple days ago, that I joined FrSKY. And so pretty much I decided to be the guy that comes around to the fields and gets to know people and talk to people. It was pretty much everything was in the very beginning was very much hands-on, get in front of people with transmitters and touch and feel and tell them a story. So it's been quite a few years. I did want to say also that I do want to thank you for having me on last time. I think I just kind of like grabbed the microphone and ran with it. So this time I would like to engage with you guys.
That's fine. Yeah, it happens. We've evolved, as a podcast. Sometimes people just want to run with scissors, and but you want to definitely engage and discuss in discussion. We love that. So just glad you're here to join us. And I'm a user of FrSKY. Actually, I have a radio and a couple dozen receivers and different planes. So I'm a very big user of it, and I'm really glad to have you on and kind of share my experiences and kind of let you know I'm glad to be part of that.
How long have you been with us for then?
Probably been 3 years, I think, was when I first got the bug. I think it was at the Jet Rally a couple of years ago. It's about 3 years ago. And you talked, well, you didn't talk me into it. You just explained, what FrSKY provided, the programming, the functionality, the tandem, which is one of the premier features of FrSKY, the dual band system. And once I played with it, talked to others that were already using it, and just started getting, answers to my questions pretty quickly from everybody. That's one of the great things. It's easy to get hold of you guys. I've really enjoyed learning how to use it and incorporate it into the hobby, my side of the hobby.
Fantastic. So if I remember all right, it was like a blue X18 that you had, or
I got a black X18. Yeah. It was the blue or the black, whichever one. I'm like, I'll go with the black.
So I remember that, and that was so long ago. Like we had so many different iterations. So you came on with like young Taylor Swift, and now we've got the Eras Tour Taylor Swift kind of.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many things that have it's blown up, and that's one of the cool things. I want you to kind of talk about how much it's blown up, and not in blown's a bad word. Expanded. The FrSKY universe has expanded considerably.
Yeah, that was essentially when I met you for the first time. FrSKY, we had like 2 colors of radios, and we had 2 different styles of radios. We actually had 4. So there's the X18 and the X18S and the X20 and the X20S. And I would sit there and tell you, it's going to be able to do this, this, and this. Excuse me. But it's not there right now. And so people like yourself who bought into the system have actually seen the growth of the system. And so I really appreciate that. It means a lot that you took it in. And I'm sorry, guys.
It happens.
All right.
We're human.
I'm getting all choked up. Talk amongst yourself. But no, it was essentially, it means a lot that you jumped into the system and you grew with it. And there were some times there, like in 2024, where we had updates like I think I counted, it was every 11 days we had a new update.
Yeah, it was a little hard to keep up there for a while. It was keeping up with the Joneses, I will admit that, but it was worth it. I would definitely say, that, you listen to the modelers. That's one of the cool things that, it's not just, things thrown out to be, maybe someone will use it, maybe someone won't. No, these are things that people actually use, the functions that you add.
Right. And so you started off, did you put it on one plane and check it out? Was that how you did it?
Yeah. So I got one plane and I played with it. Actually, I kind of I think I broke it, at least how much of that was possible. I couldn't get the settings just right. I wasn't comfortable with it. But then once I started, asking the right questions, and just, once I flew it and got everything straightened out, I was like, okay, I get this. It made sense to me. I then put it in. I got the little IR4 module. I forget the exact terminology for it, but I got the module, and I bound up one or two Spectrum planes that I had, some of my little microplanes, and flew those with it too. So experienced that as well. But my experience has been I really prefer to use the FrSKY technology on its own, not just combined with everybody else. But it's kind of cool you have that. I had the old Great Plains F-86, their micro before they were part of Horizon. It was the Tactic system, and I guess this binds the IR4 binds with the Tactic, and I could fly that plane with it. It was kind of cool.
Okay, cool. Now you started off with all that, then you started putting into some of the bigger planes. So as you get more comfortable with the radio system, you kind of grow into a bit more, and you saw it at your field in particular. It has a problem with just 2.4 gigahertz FSK by itself.
Yeah, we've had a few spots where occasionally people say something happens. I'll be honest, I think I've experienced that myself. It's not a regular occurrence, and like we got planes going down all the time, but when I studied the tandem technology, the 2.4 and the 900 megahertz together, it made sense. And the price points that they come at, make it just as economical, if not more so, than some of the other brands.
Right. So I think a lot of people, when they come into the system, it's what happens is when you lose one of your favorite planes in the whole world, you're kind of like, I need alternatives. I can't go through this again. I'm not going to spend 6 months building a plane and then have this happen again. So you kind of look for something, and a lot of people get attracted to the radio system because of the dual band, 2.4 gigahertz, 900 megahertz. But then they also, once you get into the ethos universe, you start to understand how it works. And I always tell people there's 4 phases of FrSKY. The first phase is inexpensive. It looks pretty cool. What the hell, I bought it. The second phase is, oh my God, I never thought I could hate a radio as much as I hate this thing. I want to get my money back, but knowing that it still exists is wrong. I need to kill it with fire. The third phase is like, I'm starting to get this and it makes sense. And then the fourth phase, you're flying field and you're showing everyone what you can do with the thing. And it's so what we tend to get are once people get through the phases and they really start to understand it, and it really depends. I mean, I tell people up front, you have to learn the system. There's just no way around it. You're not going to be able to pick the radio up and figure it out in 5 minutes. 99.9% of the people can't do that. You're going to have to watch videos and learn, and you have to commit yourself to doing it. But it's not going to take forever. It'll be fairly quick, and before long, you'll have your first model set up. That was one of the things I worked on, was putting out videos to explain to people, especially people over age 60, which speaking of that, my wife's birthday is today. Happy birthday, honey.
She's not 60.
She's a little bit older than that. Yeah, so it's my old lady now, I should say. But yeah. But I made videos for people, who there's a lot of things I discovered. Like when I was getting started, my friend was like, hey, did you set up dual rates? And I'm like, what the hell is dual rates? I mean, none of this stuff, can't go anywhere to get this explained. So I set up a video series for people. This is how to set up the FrSKY transmitter from start to finish. Here's how to set up a model. I showed a picture. It was of I still love that plane, is the Mall from Horizon Hobby.
Okay.
Yeah, and I talk about how I had a sheet of paper. Here's how we're going to set everything up. And then there was like 10 to 12 videos. None of them lasted more than 15 minutes, because even though you're older doesn't mean you're free of not having ADD. So I kept it short. But what we did was I explained how to do everything. So you have a completed model. And once you figure out how to do that, you can clone it and go from there, right? But by the time you're done, you would have everything, including landing gear, which this doesn't have, but we set up a fictitious landing gear. And I also talked about how to set the switches and the voices and everything else for that. And so we covered everything. And a lot of people have said, oh my gosh, that is so helpful. And then I've had other people like, I'm ready to kill you. You take so long to explain things. So it's...
Well, I've watched all the different videos. I mean, there's the one guy, is it Darren?
Darren Lines, yeah.
Yeah, so I watched a lot of his videos early on, kind of before the most recent update. But I know Jose probably has a lot of the most recent ones. I've watched some of yours that you've done. So and there's a couple other guys that do some really good ones too. So the community, really chips in, because it's like we all want this to be around, and we all want this to be as successful as possible, because there's so many, there's bigger fish in the sea right now, but we think this is a better fish, in a lot of ways. So
yeah, once you get into it, then you really start to like, okay, this works for me. The other thing that we're kind of big on now is servos, and I mean, I have to these are things I haven't discussed really elsewhere, but my first day working for FrSKY, we had this meeting about servos, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be interesting, and we all sat down, and there's one guy who no longer works here, but he said, yeah, there's these like servos companies, like one's JR, one's Salvox, Fritava, High Tech. They make servos, and yeah, and I guess people, those are like well-respected names. That was the whole conversation. That was all we knew about servos at the time.
Yep.
So it was interesting. It was like the evolution of the servo line that we have came out of kind of like not having the right formula at the time, but when people would give us feedback, we were able to improve upon it and really improve upon it. It's like one of those things that I most love about the company is like we do listen, we do take your feedback, and we want to make something that is better. And once we had like one or two hits with servos, the rest of them were a lot easier to follow on with. So we actually have these servo lines now where, I mean, I literally have people like, let me tell you something. I fly, XYZ radio brand, and I will never. Well, That's what I'm going to fly. I'm not going to fly your stuff, but I love your servos. And, yeah, I mean, we're there. We have people who are leaving $150, $200 per servo companies for our $80, $50 servos. The most expensive one we have is $120.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't even got to the servos yet. I've been playing with, got the X18S still. I've been playing with all the receivers. I've got my ethos as updated as possible. Servos is next. I just haven't had a plane that I've had to go and buy servos to put in. So I think once I get a plane, like a new plane, I'll definitely, come find you.
So you have like an old Warbird, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I always suggest, we have these new $50 servos. They're called the ACT 54, 15, 54, 14. Once you put one of those in, you'll be really amazed how much better your plane is going to fly, how much more responsive it is, how well it centers, how well we get out of a turn, it goes back to regular flying position. Just really everything about it. They're quiet, they're responsive as hell, they center perfectly, they have soft start. So, I mean, there's been kind of like a lot of interesting things with the servo line, and it just takes, I think, once you get your hands on it, what you'll see is you'll get exposed to what the premium market is for servos. And there's a difference between that and then the ones that, a lot of Warbird guys start off with the I would say like $50. Well, there's sub $50 servos, so there are a lot of brands out there, and they just kind of work. And it just overall, it just kind of it turns into one of those situations where they get emotional about the motors. It's like we didn't need to take a summer vacation. I needed that DA motor. But then it comes to servos. I mean, and then they'll tell you how much time they put in. Like they have these little rivets they put on under the coating, under the monocoat, so you can actually see the rivets.
Yeah.
And like people will say, I put 3,427 rivets on this plane. I know I put every single one on. And then like they go down the list of motors and stuff like that. What about servos? Cheapest crap I can find.
When you've spent so much money on that plane, you get down to the point of, well, the servos are, they're not that important. No, they're really important. They really are. And most guys will agree with me. And, like I said, yours are the next on my list to try. So I'm really looking forward to that. And one of the cool things is you can program them with the radio for most of them, right?
Right. So we have two types of servos. We have the exact servo line, which are programmable with the radio. Mm-hmm. And we have the ACT servo line, which are just ones you plug in.
Right.
And we don't have a programmer for those. We're going to have a programmer for all of our servos pretty soon.
Cool.
But the servos is the one thing. It's kind of interesting. That's probably the fastest growing segment of what we sell.
And it's probably the easiest because people can, go spend a couple bucks, $100 or less, maybe a little bit more, and get their plane going, and then realize, hey, this is great stuff. Maybe I should try the receivers and the transmitters and all that.
Right. I think it gives people access to the community, and it at least opens them up. I mean, we've God, I remember in the early days, Ben and I would be at events, and there would be people would walk by, and they pretend not to notice that you have like your radio sitting there, and then yeah, they walk by and kind of sneak a peek at it, and kind of like, and then after about 6 months, they would come up to us and like, listen, I'm not ever gonna buy your radio system, but I gotta know about the radio system, so the guys at the field, when they show me the radio, I can help them out. And I take some time, and then they sit there and think about it. And then we come out with the X20 Pro, and then they're like, oh, yeah, I bought one of those. I switched over here. I'm like, well, how'd that happen? That was really, I think, one of the key things that was the big takeaway from the, it was like the inflection point for FrSKY was the X20 Pro, because all of a sudden, a lot of people who were really like the idea of dual band, like the idea of a receiver that had both 2.4 gigahertz and 900 megahertz set up, so you can't possibly set it up wrong in their plane. They liked it, but they were just not comfortable flying something with a $500 transmitter, especially something they spend $20,000-$30,000 on. But once you get over $1,000, they felt a little bit better about it.
I can see that, because the price points, again, for the top of the line other brands, they're over in a couple grand, so for some of them, or more. But when you hold this radio, and then I've held the X20 Pro, I plan on holding one permanently one of these days. But I really do enjoy. You listen to the people. You change where the sliders are. You change some of the other functionalities of it. Made it comfortable, and that's what's important. Comfort and reliability. So.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of changes that have happened with FrSKY. You have noticed the growth. The thing that is important to us is kind of keeping the culture together. The thing that was really important to me was that I went to events and I worked really hard, and Ben did as well, to go establish connections with people. And then what ended up happening would be if you had someone, let's say in service, who didn't really particularly care, then it really worked against what we're trying to do. And I think what happened was, over the last couple of years in particular, everybody who was somewhat skeptical about FrSKY or just didn't really care, or kind of annoyed by customers, they all found their way out the door. And so what we're left with are people who really genuinely love coming to work and love the company.
That's important. If people aren't going to be on board, it's hard to support them, and hope they support you in some respect.
Speaking of people coming to work, and I have breaking news for us here.
Ooh, breaking news.
We have breaking news. We're going to break news here on your show. We have a new employee that came to work for FrSKY.
And who is that?
Somebody you actually know. He is... from two different places. First of all, he was the former marketing guy for Flex Innovation. Flex needed somebody in-house, and he worked for them for about 5 years, but out of California. As ironic as it sounds, he lives about 5 minutes from our office.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That makes it easy.
Yeah, so it's meant to be. Eric Musa, he was also...
Oh, yeah, I know Eric. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, team pilot for Black Star FPV.
Yes, of course,
so,
yeah.
Really, he's coming in, helping us out with marketing, and so it was his first week last week. Really, he's been flying FrSKY for years. He understands the radio system, understands the culture. It's kind of nice. We didn't have, for one reason or another, we had both tech support guys out last week, and he was able to answer phone calls and handle people with tech support. So it's great to have someone who can walk in and understand the radio system well enough and try to really understand what we're trying to do. and work on messaging and everything else like that. So a lot of good stuff going to be coming out in the future.
That's awesome. I know we were talking, and we're getting low on time, but I know you're going to come out with a car radio, right, or at least a ground service radio.
So I can neither confirm nor deny that that is going to
Okay.
happen. But if that were to happen, you would see it most likely come out really strong by first quarter of next year.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and that would be absolutely. I can't say anything about it other than it's freaking amazing. It's so yeah, there's going to be it's going to be interesting to say the very least. This next year is going to be a lot of big surprises. There's some things also coming out for the jet community where like people are going to say, "Wow, that's insane."
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys could do that. So
jets as in turbines or turbines and EDFs? Okay. Gotcha. That's awesome. Jay, you got any questions for Steve while we got a minute or two here?
Well, no, I'm glad to just tag along and listen to you guys banter about. But I was when I have a FrSKY radio and I enjoy it. The reason I got into it was because I had a couple of drones, and what I loved about it was I had it was the availability of receivers that I could fit inside the drone, either from a big drone or, for me, a really small micro drone. I could have I could use a receiver that was 8 to 12, 16 channels, and I could have a teeny weeny tiny receiver that could do all these functions. Once I kind of figured out the outline of what I wanted to do and stuff, and that was pretty important because out of that little small receiver I could do a multitude of stuff that the spectrum that I grew up with couldn't even handle, and that was really, really nice. So it's great to see that we've advanced beyond that, I guess. But now for me, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of stuck in your older set of receivers and radios, and now there's a newer generation that's out there, and I guess I have a little I'm a little scared to maybe dip my toe into getting trying out a new receiver, trying out a new radio, because that may I may not be able to use my old stuff. So I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't, should I try? The new stuff looks really cool, So I guess for a guy like myself, how do I get over that fear and come up and get a new radio and possibly start with some new stuff? Is it should I do it? Can I do it?
Trust your co-host that already has one.
Ah.
So yeah, what happens is unless you got like the very, very, very first receivers we made, all these receivers you have work with a new system. They just have to be updated to ACCST version 2, and then they work wonderfully with the transmitter. So there's been stories about people who got shoe boxes full of receivers. Like, I'm getting rid of these. You can actually use them all and you update them all and go fly with them.
Okay.
I actually would. Yeah, one of the receivers I have a plane I fly every Sunday. It's a little flying wing, and it's just like you can't crash it, you can't kill it. But it has the XM Plus receiver that I think you're talking about, a small receiver on there.
Yes.
And yeah, it's great. I love it, and it works fine with all our systems. Even the newest radio, X20 Pro, will work with it, all the way down to we have these little transmitters look like the X14s look similar to this right here, so it works with that. So everything, it will work with it. You just have to update your receiver. It's a free update.
Oh, good. Because that was I guess that was one of my biggest fears, was that I had heard that they were having, you couldn't use the older stuff because it was, there was an issue with, updating them, or you couldn't update them. And I was like, oh man, I wouldn't mind having a newer radio, but I don't know if I want to go out or convince my old lady that I want to buy, a whole new radio system. And, I got to get rid of all my old receivers because I can't update them and they won't update past this date. That was my greatest fear.
Yeah, you can use all of the old stuff, and we get sometimes people call up and they have these old planes with these old receivers, and they're like, if I have to replace all these receivers, it's gonna be very expensive. And I'm like, no, you get the benefit of the new radio system, plus you use all the old stuff.
Oh,
so
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that was
so that's why we have. Yeah, so I can answer the questions. I get to talk to the host this time. This is amazing. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Hey.
Yeah.
And but we're kind of running low on time this time, but we'll definitely get back again, Steve, especially when you get some other new stuff come out. You're always welcome back on our show, and especially if we see you live at the events. We've got the Jet Rally coming up in November. We've got AEF next year, and there's other events that we've been going to. I just saw you in California,
sorry,
so
I missed it this year. I was heartbroken about it.
It's all good.
Unfortunately, I attend a funeral that weekend, but
yeah.
Hopefully we won't have that this next year, and I'll be there at the Arizona Electric Festival with you guys. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, we'll be glad to have you. So again, Steve with FrSKY USA, thanks again for joining us on the show and talking about FrSKY. We're really glad to
Facebook,
FrSKY Steve on Facebook, and I follow him, he follows me, and it's good stuff. So me and Jay are going to go and try and find Mike, and we'll catch you on the other side. So thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Love to Mike. Thank you for having me.
And we're back in the studio. So it's always a pleasure to have FrSKY on there. And I know you guys didn't, I know you talked about it, that I had won some, but I'm going to show you here. This is my one of the FrSKY servos that I got from those guys, and it's the BL 540 5405H.
Gotcha.
And I'm very impressed with these, by the way. I am very impressed. Matter of fact, my Comparf has them all the way around. All 8 of them are this servo.
Oh, nice.
So I am the one I'm holding in my hand obviously has a big rod on it. This is my believe it or not, it's a kind of overkill, but this was my throttle servo.
Wow.
So I got to tone it down quite a bit because I don't need 700 inch-pounds to run a throttle.
Yeah,
but I just want.
I mean, a little vibration, but come on.
I know. So, but yeah, it's a great servo, and of course, some. I don't personally use FrSKY radios, but I know you do, and I know Jay's messed around with it, and I know Mike uses his. But the servos are amazing. So
yeah, because that's one of the things that we had talked about is when they first were talking about them, it was kind of like well, who cares? It's servos. But then when you really think about it, that's the end game for our controls. I mean, that's where everything happens. That's where the magic really happens. We're controlling the six and everything, but if the servos fail or the linkage or anything, we're done. We're getting the plane back in multiple pieces or barely back at all.
Right.
So, they put a lot of time and effort into those servos, and they're coming up with new ones. And what's cool with a lot of them is if you have a FrSKY radio, you can program them directly from the radio, which is really cool.
Yes, that was one of the things that
wink, wink,
that
nod, nod.
Right.
Well, but they're coming out with a programmer too, he said.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm looking forward to that because that was one of the things on my Comparf. They're linked together, right? They're ganged together with 2 control rods, and I had to do it in my radio. It was a little bit tougher. It wasn't really hard, but it was just a little bit more of an effort than what I heard the guys on the FrSKY radios. They're like, oh yeah, if you want to gang them together, just do this, this, and this. Yeah, and I was like, oh. Luckily, I talked to Tony. Tony kind of steered me in the right direction. Tony gave me the, kind of the gouge on, said, hey, this is the way you should do it. Or, if you did it this way, it'll work correctly. So kudos to Tony Quist. He's, a guru and that kind of stuff. So
yes, he is.
So I always appreciate him taking time to help me through my little troubles. but he got it. He nailed it right on the money, and now the servos are synced and they work fantastic. And I'm really impressed. And I really wanted to be there to tell Steve, because I got these, and he was great. I was getting a set because I won the auction, not auction, but the door prize, and were sent it to me. And I told him, hey man, I'd really like to get the 5405s, and he made it happen. So, kudos to Steve. I appreciate his effort, because I know that was probably, he had to catch them in, mid transition and say, oh, make them these. But they came in a beautiful box, beautifully wrapped, and they're all aluminum. They're just amazing. I'm really impressed with them. And I know that they're coming out now with a 6400 that is even more powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see that, because I got a turbine jet that's going to need some, and I decided to wait until those actually hit the market. I think you can purchase them.
Yeah, I've got the radio, I've got the receivers, some of the little, I got like the voltage sensor, thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten the servos yet, because it's like, you get a plane and it's got servos in it already, or I've got a stash of servo brands. Every make and model. I've got just, heck, there's times at our free table, it's like there's people use good servos, and it's like, and I'll put it on the checker. It's like, oh, it works. Okay, that's a good servo. They just didn't want to, maybe the plane was a piece of junk, but the servos were good. So you just don't, they don't think that. Yeah. So, you get them all just kind of a big box full of servos. But going forward, if and when I get into a turbine, probably, start from scratch and put the good stuff in from the get go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that I've actually transitioned over to these particular ones for my Comparf build. And then I know that Scott Berryman has told me that he has 2 airplanes. His big 120 Bushmaster has them in them. And that's a 3D airplane as well. And he's like, dude, they're so fast. They're phenomenal. They're, bang for the buck. It's really a good deal. I mean, it's hard to find. These retail, I think, for $79, $80, something like that.
Yeah, and the other guys are like 100 plus, so it's good savings. And especially when you got 4, 6, 8 of them. Yeah, they add up. Yeah, that's up fast.
So they're super fast, and they're really strong. And this will be my first experience, so I'll kind of update everybody as we go along. But yeah, Steve has done a great job. We always love having him on the podcast, and it's good to hear. I know that they have new products coming out too. I know he mentioned one, but I think they've got a couple more coming out, so we're excited to hear about those too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I mean, it's just changed so much. Even just the time, we've talked about on the pod, on the our section, like, when I started, he was at the Jet Rally, just kind of talking all about these things, and there weren't a whole lot of people using them yet at our field. But after that Jet Rally, and then when he came back for AEF, it exploded. I mean, I can, most of the guys that I fly with, other than like the Horizon sponsored guys, or the guys that are, long time, Horizon users, Spectrum and whatnot, a lot of the guys are transferring over, or like me, they're, we're kind of, I still got a Spectrum radio, and I still got a FrSKY, whichever one, if I get a Horizon brand plane with an, AS3X in it, okay, going on the Spectrum. I'm buying a brand new plane, going forward, it's going to have, FrSKY in it, just because I'm getting really comfortable with it now. So
good. So, yeah. Well, that's excellent.
And Jay, I think, hopefully, they got the gears rolling in your head to maybe look at getting one of the new radios, because I just went online last night, because I'm like, mine's an old one now. I mean, even though it's, it's 3 or 4 years old now, but it still does all the same stuff that the new ones do. Just, they don't have as many kind of whiz bang features. Some of the stuff's, like there's more buttons, there's no more knobs, and are in different places, but the software, the hardware, it's pretty much the same. It's just, not the hardware, but the software is pretty much the same going across. And nowadays, you can get a really good transmitter for, less than $600, right, and you're in the same ballpark as, the other guys that are over $1,000. So it's really, it's hard to, when I started, and just like you said, there's 4 stages of being a FrSKY user. It's like, I'm excited, I hate it, but I like it, and then I love it. And
Right.
I've been through all 4 of those. I will
like
be
it.
I mean, there was a point where I was like, Steve, I was going to do the old discount tire commercial, throw the tire through the window,
Right.
throw the radio back. But once you get past that little roadblock, it's like,
Mhm.
I'm sold, and
Good.
I've been in this hobby a long time. I was a Futaba, grew up on Futaba.
Yep.
I mean, I had
Yep.
5-wire
Sure.
linear, 2 arms on the thing, servo reversing. What was that?
Right.
That didn't exist, dual rates expo.
Yeah,
That was
no
like,
doubt. We
I gotta
didn't
get
either.
if I get a gold radio, and I gotta get a gold radio for every plane,
Right.
because you couldn't, remember you had to have a radio for every plane back in the day.
Pretty much. Or
Yeah.
at least the
And
new
then-
receiver and a radio.
Oh yeah, and then I think JR broke the mold with that. They came out with the multiple radios, and then Futaba followed. But I've had all those radios. It's just like, the evolutions have been amazing. And what you used to pay for it back in the day is not even, it's way more than what you're paying for now. With everything taken into account. So it's amazing where our hobbies come with that technology.
Yeah, the technology has come a long way for these. So, and speaking of technology, I did an Instagram post on the Jetson stuff, new overflow tanks that you can carry around, and this is it. I do have it in my hot little hands. Kudos, shout out to John Gearhart, because he makes these, and I was pretty impressed. He handed it to me and he said, "Hey, I'm going to tell you that it's not glued together, because what he allows me to do is take this back section off." He said, "You can print out a piece of paper or sticker with your name on it. You can put a clear heat shrink sleeve, and then stick this back on, drop a little drop of CA right here, and then shrink that. And now you have it perfectly labeled with your name."
Ooh,
I was like, now that is cool. So I was super, super happy with it. It does not contain a clunk, which I was like, oh man, it doesn't have a clunk. And he's like, yeah, why do we put clunks in tanks?
Well,
Because
if you
Why?
buy inverted, right? So
if you fly inverted, he goes, how are you going to carry this inverted? I said, no. He goes, you don't need a clunk.
okay, that makes sense.
Well, now I feel stupid. I mean, because he handed it to me, and I was like, oh, I got to put a clunk in there. He goes, why? Do you fly this thing inverted? And I go, no, I don't actually.
I don't know why, but that thing that device reminds me of a pig. I don't know. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, it does. It's funny.
It does look kind of like big.
Yeah.
See, it does kind of look like it.
Yeah,
it's because it's round. Yeah. So,
we'll call it Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, no doubt. He did say, Tony, because you can press your own, valves on this. So he said Tony basically switched it out to the BVMs, and that way it fits all his jets. So he's like, if you want to do that too, you can. But it's all 3D printed. These, the feet are TPU, so they're rubbery. Okay. And he said you either rub a piece of sandpaper across there, or he said you can put a little rubber pad so it doesn't slip, because some guys will set it on the airplane and it'll slide off. But he said, yeah, they're, sits on the table and doesn't move around. And I was super impressed with it. And then also he had these cool little foam transmitter stands. I don't know if you saw that on my post, but they were cut. Yeah, they're little round things, and you set your transmitter in it, and then it's not sitting on the table. So anyway, you can check it out. I think he gave me his website, and just to make sure, I kind of caught him off guard, and I was like, where can they find these? And he was like, because I have a box of them, but no, you can find him as well on GeForceEnterprises.com. It's the GeForce Enterprises. So they do soft stands to carry your airplane. I know, we've done several people that make those, but he has these on sale, $40. They come in multiple colors. It's pretty close to the 4th of July, so I got the red, white, and blue one. And I got the white handle because I wanted to try and do the name. So I'll try to do that for the next one go around. I did ask what these little things were, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, you made little pins on, what goes on the bottom of that? And he reaches over, picks his up, and turns it around to me, and they're fuel lines.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, instead of having your fuel lines sticking out everywhere, you just push them in there, and then the clunk sits in the back. or the not the clunk, but the attachment point, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he said both sides. They'll sit on both sides. I was like, you've thought of everything.
Nice.
So, but yeah, they're really cool. They sit well, and I like the fact that I'm carrying it around and I don't have to, it doesn't fall off the airplane because the BVMs are square, and this one works great. And it's a little bit larger too. I think it's a full liter. I think it's or not a full liter, but half a liter. So anyway, give them a check out.
Do they have those for electric?
I hope so.
Juice and electric
LiPo.
Little LiPo juice goes in there. Yeah. I think it'd be hilarious if you had EDF and you just set this on there with a battery inside. That would be so funny to me. Right? I think it'd be awesome because you take the lid off. You could put like a 2 or 3 cell battery in there, and then just take an electrical wire and just plug it into your canopy, and then just taxi out with this on the back with a battery in here. Dude, I'm going to do that next time. Next time we go somewhere, I'm going to try that. People can make fun of me, but I think it's going to be hilarious. Go out there and disconnect it, put the wire off.
What's he doing? He's lost it.
That's a great idea, though. So, well, we want to once again appreciate Steve. We know that he's busy and he took his time to participate with us. And thank you guys. I want to shout out to you guys too, because you did cover me. I bailed out of here as fast as I could because we did think it was a lot worse than it turned out to be.
Your health is more important than anything. So just
I know, and like I say, we're pretty sensitive about it. But thank you, everybody. I know there was a couple of people who reached out, and they had heard what was going on, and they were just wanting to make sure I was okay. So yep, that all turned out good, and yeah, I appreciate Jay coming, doing a episode with us as well, because I know he had honeydews at this particular point in time to go mow the grass. He's doing a podcast with us, so thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, once again, join our Instagram, follow us on Instagram, like us on our Facebook listeners group, and join us on our YouTube channel for sure. But thank you very much for joining us on this episode. I'm Michael here in Arizona.
I'm Jay in South Carolina.
And Shannon G in Mesa AZ.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.